All right, people, what's up? This is Chris from quitporngetgirls.com. We are live now. This is my first live webinar. Just waiting for everyone to log in. Let's see what's happening here. All right, I've opened up the chat box, making sure everyone's here. All right, awesome. Welcome, welcome. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to kind of get in and join everyone. I'm not sure exactly how many people are going to be showing up today. It doesn't matter how many people show up. I am going to deliver to the best of my ability. And this is going to be very exciting. I'm crazy excited about this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Awesome. You can see. All right. Great. Let me test everything, make sure everything's working. All right. I'm going to share my screen with you. All right. Awesome. Cool. All right, here we go. So, welcome to the 5 critical dating skills for introverted men. Let's make this full screen. Actually, let's do this. Let us let's see what we can do here. Let's make this a slideshow. All right, so we can bring it in. Actually, I know what I'll do. I'm going to pull this up. 5 critical dating skills, tools, and slideshow. Awesome, here we go. So we've got the 5 critical dating skills for introverted men. Welcome to this webinar. We're about to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. So I am Chris Haven. I am the founder of quitporngetgirls.com. It's been around for about 4 or 5 years. I'm a addiction recovery specialist and coach, and I basically help men overcome their pornography addictions and sexually compulsive behaviors. One of the other things that I actually do is that I work with men and I teach them how to build relationships with women and build attraction with women. And one of the things that inspired me to actually do this webinar today was the fact that a lot of men that I coach personally, they self-identify as introverts. So I just decided that if there's something that I could give away for free, it was probably to help all the introverts. And here's the reason why. Basically, a lot of introverts just struggle a lot with how would I put it? They struggle a lot with overcoming all right, cool, here we are. Cool. Slideshow. All right. So let's talk a little bit. So who is this for? Now, this webinar is basically for guys who identify as introverts. If you're basically a guy who self-identifies, and whenever you're around crowds, that kind of drains your energy and you enjoy your time alone. Or people describe you as being very quiet or shy. And anytime you're dating a woman or on a date with a woman or even have a woman as a in quote friend, it's very difficult for her to get to know you. You don't open up that easily. And if you're the kind of person who prefers to relax, you want to be yourself. And finally, you like a no pressure approach to meeting women. So basically, you're one of those guys who the pickup artist stuff just does not work for you. I remember being out in Vegas about 3 weeks ago with some of my boys, and these are just friends, not clients. We were hanging out, and one of them, he was having some severe anxiety, and he's a total introvert. But one of my other friends just kept telling him, "All right, man, you see that girl right over there? Go talk to her. You can do it. Just go talk to her, man. It's not a big deal. Just say hi, tell her you find her attractive." And the more he said this, the more this guy just, I mean, he just, you could see him literally collapse internally and go back into himself. So if you're that kind of guy that identifies as an introvert, this is definitely for you. Who this is not for. This is not for anyone who is looking for a quick fix or a magic pill. So this is not for men who do not take action. And what this means is that while these are five very powerful steps that you've probably never heard of before, you're going to have to take action if you want to get anything from this. It's given to you for free. If you do take action, your life will change as an introvert. You will remain the same person, but you'll be able to date attractive women. There are a lot of people who have gone through this, which is a part of what I teach in my coaching, who have gone on to date multiple women, who have gone on to find their wives and their girlfriends. And this is also not for any men who are in denial. So if you're sitting there and your game is, let's say, Tinder game, and you're really good at meeting girls on Tinder, or you're a guy, but you don't meet women in the real world. You don't actually go up to women and talk to them in the library, in the bookstore, in the gas station. If you are a man who is in denial and you think you've got good game, I know a lot of guys like that who they really think they are good at meeting and attracting women. But when it comes down to it and we crunch some numbers, we find out that they're really not, then this isn't for you. All right. So we've gotten that down. All right. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about me. Those of you who've been following me on the site for a while already know about me. But what most people don't know is that I am very, very shy and I am introverted. In fact, I'm still introverted now. And one of the things that I really wanted growing up was I truly wanted to meet and date attractive women. Okay. So what I did was I basically put myself through a really intense learning process. So up till the age of, I started watching pornography and I was addicted to it from the age of 13. Um, had something like a girlfriend when I was 16. It didn't work out. After that, all I wanted from when I was 17 years old was to date beautiful women. This is the only thing that I wanted. So I lived in Kansas, in Wichita, Kansas, and I had moved to Malaysia. Parents had moved over there, and I was going to college there. So I put myself through this pickup artist program. I would get letters, newsletters in my inbox from, I don't know if anybody followed the guy, David D'Angelo from Double Your Dating. And basically, I used to listen to his newsletters and I would go out and try the different techniques that he used to teach. And one of the techniques that he used to teach was called cocky and funny. Um, you basically go out to women, and if you're cocky and funny, apparently women find that attractive. And that's what I used to do. And then when I came back to the States, I basically saved up a lot of money and I went for a lot of boot camps. And this was right now, I am 32 years old, but this was back in the day when there were, um, I mean, like the mystery method, charisma arts, love systems. I went for so many boot camps, but at the end of the day, I still couldn't approach women. And I did this for many years. I would do great on the boot camps because someone was pushing me, and I'm a pretty self-motivated guy. I've ran multiple businesses. I work out. I push myself in life, but when it came to approaching women and building relationships, I really sucked. So I do have results now, but what happened, the difference was that I actually had to figure out what worked for my personality and the kind of person I was. All right, I began to notice that so basically the here are the five secrets, okay? So the five secrets are basically a compilation of what I've watched work over the past 15 years. I've heard about the game. I've been in the game since I was 16 years old. This was before the game came out, all right? The guys I work with and my clients, a lot of them sometimes they felt a little bit unsure about themselves in one way or the other, but what when they went through the system and everything I'm teaching them now is introverts, they went on to meet beautiful women. A lot of the types of women that these introverted guys wanted were very specific. They want, if you're the kind of guy who wants, you want an intelligent woman, you want a loving woman, you want a woman who's fun, who's smiling, who can balance you out. Sometimes even an energetic woman. That's what a lot of introverted guys are looking for. This is what works, and all of them apply the five secrets. But here's something else. Anytime you meet a man who is doing exceptionally well with women, he's also applying these five secrets. The only difference is that, you're not sure, exactly how he's doing it. All right, so here's the first secret, all right? The first secret, guys, believe it or not, is that you are sexually attractive, all right? Um, and here's how it works, all right? So, what is the most important, before we jump into that, I'm going to ask you a question. What is the most important sentence? The most important sentence. All right, so the most important sentence that you need to know as an introvert is that you don't have to prove anything to anyone, including yourself. I'll say it again. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, including yourself. If you can write that somewhere, print it out. I have it printed out. It's actually in the wall, on the wall in front of me. But mine says, don't seek validation from anyone. Now, one thing about Western culture, this doesn't matter. You could be checking in from an absolutely different country, but most of us, especially when it comes to dating, are highly influenced by Western culture. And Western culture focuses a lot on proving yourself and appearing to be successful. All right. So while this is great for your career and this is great for your business, pushing yourself, talking about how materialistic you are, showing off your suits and your clothing and your car and the things you have going on for you, it's terrible for personal relationships because what it does is that it leads to feelings of insecurity and absolute inadequacy in our lives. All right. So, this materialistic putting yourself out there really doesn't work, especially for men. Now, to begin, we need to understand what attraction is, but most importantly, we need to find out what is actually attractive to women. And to do that, I'm going to give you guys an exercise. And what I would like you guys to do is, I would like you guys to write out, like, what are all the things that you think women find attractive? So this is what we're going to do. All right. I'm going to jump back into the chat here. And yeah, so what are the things that people find attractive. Write them down and yeah, share them with me. Let me know. I mean, tell me what are the things that people find attractive. All right. All right. Awesome. Okay. That is dope. Okay, cool. So we've gotten some things out there. Let's go back to slideshow. Now, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about being creepy versus being cool, okay? And I'm going to start off by telling you my story of being a creeper. um, I remember being in a club once, and basically what I was doing was I was going around and I was meeting with different women. I was going to talk to women. I was in the complete um, pickup zone. And where was this at? I think this must have been in Kansas, in a place called Club Rodeo. And I remember moving on to some women, and I was trying on my different routines, my palm reading routine, I had all kinds of routines. I barely remember them now because it's been so many years since I dumped them. But I remember each time as I was talking to them and pulling all these routines out, these women were completely unimpressed. I mean, they were literally sitting down there going like, And when I finished, one of them just told me, she was like, hold on, hold on. She said, hold on. She's like, you are the creepiest guy in this club. I was like, all right, cool. So that's a rejection. I'm gonna bounce. So I left. What happened next was I kept walking around. It took me a while to regain my confidence. But when I did, I approached another group of women and I did my same routines, and they absolutely loved it. Ended up, I remember one of the really cute girls, she ended up sitting on my lap, and then she's just like, "Oh my God, you are the sexiest guy in here." I was like, "Hold up, I'm this. That's not what I got earlier on." But you see, here's the thing: our personal biases, the way we see the world, the way we see people, fuel the differences in the way that we see people. And the important thing to understand as an introvert is people perceive our attractiveness by how we perceive ourselves. So, for example, when a woman says, be confident, she's like, you know what? Just be confident, just be confident and be funny. What does she mean? What she simply means is don't not be confident, but perceive yourself to be confident. Now, one of my biggest insecurities was that I was not a confident guy. I really thought that actually I was not attractive. I really thought that when I spoke to women and I wouldn't have anything to say, and they would just not find me funny. Because a lot of the guys I hung out with were very introverted guys, and whenever we were hanging out, they would always dominate the conversation, and I would kind of just slowly fade into the shadows, and I'd usually walk away from there. And this was one of my biggest insecurities. So one of the things I had to start doing was I started perceiving myself to be a more interesting person. Now, up till today, I am still not the most interesting conversationalist, but I perceive myself to be that way. And when I go talk to women and have conversations with them, I may not be the fanciest speaker or have a lot of funny jokes, but women can read that when you communicate with them. All right. Oh, looks like my PowerPoint messed up a little bit, but your self worth, this is the next secret. Your self worth will eliminate your neediness. So, what does this mean? Um, Basically, one of the things we do when we're needy is we play a lot of games. All right. So, some of the games that we play are like, the the 3 second rule in approaching. Like you got to wait 3 seconds if it before you approach an attractive woman. If it's past 3 seconds, then you're going to have so much anxiety and you can't do it. Or you only have to make sure you call a woman if you want to date with her on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, because she would have made plans for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's when you call her. Or, never text a woman first, or never text a woman 2 or 3 times because it's going to come across as needy. And women do the same things to guys. They like, go out with a guy for 2 dates before you sleep with him, make him work for it, be mean to him. And all of us play these games, which all of them come from a place of neediness and low self-worth. Okay. So when you build up your self-worth, you won't be needy. The next is performing. And performing simply means acting like we are not interested when we are, acting when like we're interested when we are not. And this is what we call nice guy syndrome. This simply means that you are with an attractive woman and you are agreeing with everything that she says, even if you don't agree with it. She may love Hillary or she may love Trump, and you may not agree with one, but you agree and you change your values because you think that by agreeing and being agreeable with the woman, you are going to get something from her. The next is exaggerating our strengths, and I have definitely been guilty of this. Exaggerating our strengths is basically what we do when we try to be bigger than we are. We act like we are more wealthy than we are. We act like we are stronger than we are. We act like we are achieving more than we are. And basically, and the next is hiding our weaknesses. All right. And what we do when we hide our weaknesses, guys, is that we are hiding the fact that there is something wrong with us. And I'm going to give you an example. I put there in brackets that the opposite is actually the most powerful. And here's an example. One of the issues that I had was porn addiction. And every time I've been with a woman that I've been serious about, I'm like, you know what? I want to date this woman for a certain amount of time. And there haven't been many women like that in the past decade. One of the things I was always insecure was about my past with porn addiction. So one of the things that I had to learn how to do was actually open up and talk about the positive things that I learned from that. And one of the positive things was that it made me more disciplined. It made me understand my emotions a lot better. It made me appreciate my family and how imperfect my family was, which is why it led to my porn addiction and the culture that I was actually from. It made me appreciate what I was capable of. Now, sharing these weaknesses is incredibly powerful, okay? But sharing these weaknesses is incredibly powerful. And I'm going to talk about that in the next secret. Moving on, the exercise I want to give you guys is how much do you perform? All right. So I'm going to give you 10 behaviors on a scale of 1 to 5. So 1 means you've never done it before, and 5 is you do it often or you are a hardcore practitioner of this behavior. So number 1 is memorize a line or joke to impress a girl. Number 2 is you stop calling or texting a girl because she didn't respond. All right. So number 3 is you made up an excuse to get a girl to come to your house. And one of my friends does this, which is like, hey, come on over. I want to show you this video on YouTube. Or come on over. You really got to see the view from my balcony. The 4th is you feel the need to drink to flirt with a girl. Number 5 is you tell an attractive woman who offended you that you don't like it. So what this means is that you're talking to an attractive woman and she says something that is disrespectful. And what you say is, you know what, I don't like that. 6 is you reschedule your plans. You've rescheduled your plans to make time for a date. So let's say you have to work or go to the gym, but a date comes up and you're like, I'm going to skip it because I want to go see this girl. Number 7 is you daydream of dating or marrying a woman whom you've only just been on one date with. All right. Number 8 is you wait multiple dates for the right moments to kiss her. Number 9 is you've analyzed all the signs of whether a woman liked you or not. So what this specifically means is you've literally sat down and gone like, all right, so she texts me and she hasn't texted me for 2 days. She didn't ask me about whatever. All those things we do when we're on the phone, analyzing, talking to our friends and breaking down the text to see whether she's into you or not. And 10 is you've excused yourself from a woman who wasn't interested in you. And what this means is you're having a conversation with a woman. You can see that she's absolutely not into you. And you're like, you know what? It was really nice meeting you. Thank you. And you walk away. Have a good day. Have a good evening. And you walked away. All right. So those are the 10 behaviors. And I'm going to give you guys a moment to actually go through them and give yourself, rate yourself on them on a scale of 1 to 5. So 1 being you've never done it before, and 5 being that you actually do it quite often. All right. So I will be waiting on you all to do that. All right. Cool. Now let's grade. Let's grade it. All right, the scoring, what I want you to do is I want you to take out number 2, number 5, and number 10. All right. And completely take them out, make them negative, and add the rest. Add up the rest. All right, cool. Now, if you've got less than 5, that's actually very good. All right. I actually want to see because I can't even see when I'm on this full screen. Awesome. All right, cool. So who got less than 5? Okay. Is there anyone who is, let's see, anyone who is 6 to 15? All right. So you need improvement. And if you are over 15, all I have to say is that for that, the higher the number you have, then the more frequent that you have feelings of inadequacy. Okay. All right. Back to it. Now, how do you increase your self-worth? All right. What do you do about that as an introverted guy? If you're an introverted guy who has low feelings of self-worth, and that leads to anxiety. All right. So what is anxiety? So anxiety is a fight or flight response. Basically, what happens is, let's say you are exposed to fire as a kid and you burn your hand on a candle or something. All right. Chances are next time you see it, a candle, and you have to light the candle or do something with it, you're going to experience anxiety. I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, my mom told me to pour some water out of a kettle. I ended up tipping the kettle and I burned myself with hot water. Every time I had to handle a kettle for the next couple of weeks, months, years, I don't remember as a kid, I experienced anxiety. Now, our brain can't tell the difference between physical and emotional pain. For me, I was replaying everything in my head. Actually, my brain, my subconscious was replaying it. So basically, anxiety is the way that our body tells us or reminds us to avoid pain. All right. So, how do we hack anxiety? We hack anxiety as introverts by wiring new behaviors over old anxiety behaviors. And we cannot eliminate them or totally remove them, but we can put new behaviors over them. Okay. The second way is with anxiety, the skill that you need to understand is that the skill is not getting rid of anxiety, is actually acting in spite of it or despite it. What this means, guys, for introverts is that for the kind of guys that we are, all right, the kind of people that we are with our anxiety, the way an introvert handles anxiety is very different from the way an extrovert would handle it. And most people don't know this. Now, when you have anxiety, the habit I'm going to teach you is how to face it in a way that makes that a new habit. Okay. Now, there are several reasons why introverts actually don't act, and it's because of several defense mechanisms, and I'm going to talk about them real quick. The first defense mechanism is called intellectualizing. So, intellectualizing is basically you are so damn smart that you can give reasons for things not happening. going to give you an example. Let's say you're in a bar or you're on the street and you see a super attractive woman, and you're like, damn, I need to talk. I want to get to know her. But then what you say? You're like, well, you see, she's talking to that other guy, and I'm pretty sure that's her boyfriend, or she's a guy that he's on a date with. I can tell from their body language that that's the situation. Or she's on the phone, and you're like, well, if I interrupt her while she's on the phone, then she's gonna get pissed off, and then I'm gonna lose my chance. So fuck it, I'm not gonna do it. Another one is blame or anger. And this comes from some guy's past experience. And the blame or anger could literally be something like, you know what, whatever, like um, white girls don't date Asian guys, or something along the lines of, you know what, girls from New York are all bitches, or whatever the case is. The next is indifference, which was actually one of the things that really killed me. Indifference is the worst for introverts because we act like we don't care. Like it's not a big deal. Like, nah, I'll talk to a woman another time. It's not a big deal. Besides, I just came out to hang out with the guys. I don't care, you know. So why did you even think about her in the first place? Why did you think of approaching her, or why did you look at her and go like, oh, she's attractive, I'd like to get to know her? That is one of the biggest pitfalls for most introverts. The next is rationalization, and this is, for example, when you say things like, you know what, my ex was a lying bitch, therefore all women are lying bitches. Women are bitches. I've heard guys say that. Another one is women are emotional, so the woman I'm talking to is emotional. These are things women do. I'm not saying that last one is actually what you would say, but we rationalize it. We could also say things along the lines of, oh, you know, all big city girls act like, or white girls, I'm from here that this is happening. So we give ourselves all kinds of excuses. The next secret to understand is that you are actually authentic. All right. Now, when you are introverted, you spend a lot of time with yourself. You think a lot, you listen a lot. The truth is that as a man, you actually understand yourself quite well. And among other men, if need be, with among the men in your close circle, you're very good at expressing the sort of person that you are, but you suck at doing it with women. So, what is authenticity? Authenticity is the antidote to all those performance and all those games that we play. So, the key to authenticity is basically doing it unconditionally. To be authentic with a woman is to give a woman something without expecting anything in return. And this is how we do it. We do it by stating our interest directly. All right. And let me emphasize, let me clarify what that actually means. Stating that directly simply means that when you meet a woman, instead of playing games or thinking of lines, all you do is you approach her and you state your interest directly. All right. But here's the thing. This is what I do when I approach women. I will walk up to a woman. I will say, excuse me, this is absolutely random, but I just wanted to tell you that you are absolutely gorgeous. And then I pause You pause and you don't say anything. I just give it. I'm not expecting anything back. I just want some sort of, I'm waiting to see what she's going to say, but I'm going to give a genuine reaction and give her space. And then she responds to you. All right. Now, don't use it as a line. This is how guys use it as a line. Most guys will take that and be like, all right, cool. I'm going to do what Chris says. I'm going to tell a woman, this is absolutely random, but I find you very attractive. Okay. So they go and they say that excuse me, this is absolutely random, but you are so attractive. And then they get rejected. They come back and they bitch to me about it. The reason why is you were expecting something to happen. You were not just giving it to the woman. So what does this mean? This means if you're introverted, don't approach women that you are not attracted to practice. Because when you do this, which is what a lot of the pickup artists and boot camps do, you beat yourself up. You're not being authentic. All right. Now, this leads us to being creepy. Now, what is creepiness? Creepiness is basically unattractive. Nobody can define creepiness, okay? You just know when someone is being creepy. You'll know it when you see it, all right? But what creepiness actually comes down to is your intention. When you are doing something in order to get a response, you're seen as creepy. Just like I was at the bar doing all my little monkey tricks, they thought I was creepy, all right? Sometimes you can be really nice and helping a woman a lot. And then she tells my friends, oh my God, he's so creepy. He's always texting me. He wants to help me with stuff. He wants to go dancing. He wants to chat all the time. That's creepy. So the key to overcoming creepiness is being authentic, doing things, giving compliments to women, talking to women, and expressing yourself in a way that doesn't expect anything in return. Next is as an introverted guy, you have the greatest capacity to be vulnerable of all. Compared to extroverts, you can be the most vulnerable, but you're going to need to practice. And this right here, guys, this is the magic key. Now, does vulnerability mean being a pussy and talking about your emotions and sharing your feelings? No, this is not what it is, okay? Vulnerability is the willingness to express yourself without any defenses. It's the ability to open up, say what you need to say, talk about how you feel in the moment to a woman without blocking yourself, without any armor on. All right. So there are three types of vulnerability. All right. So I'll give an example. The first is actually behavioral, which I actually didn't write there, which is approaching a woman you don't know. All right. And giving her a compliment and then having a conversation. Sometimes it's being on a date with a woman and just taking her hand. That's risky. It is basically exposing yourself to rejection. There's no way around it. But introverted guys, we do it best, all right? Because we are authentic. Right now, why vulnerability works for introverts? Vulnerability works for introverts because it implies equal status. So what does this actually mean? What does imply equal status mean? It means that for the most part, when we approach women, we put women on a pedestal. We're like, I am approaching her. She is up there. She has the power to reject me. But you take that power away when you are vulnerable because you are on that level with her. You go from the bottom, looking up to her level. You're like, this is where I'm at. The second thing is that it rewires anxiety. It removes anxiety. It replaces anxiety by building new behavioral patterns on top of your anxiety. When you practice vulnerability, not game, not going out and approaching 100 women, but you practice being vulnerable on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, you start to build up this new habit of no bullshit. All right. And the third thing is that it is a long-term solution. When I say long-term solution, I mean, see, for years I was reading all these pickup books, and any book that came up on game on Amazon. I would read it. I would buy these programs. I spent thousands of programs that talked about strategies and pickup lines, and I was lying about my status. But when you do this, it becomes who you are. You become a grown ass man, all right, who is vulnerable. Next is that it builds sexual tension when you express your sexual intention. Now, what this means is that when you tell I'm going to share a story with you guys. Okay, cool. So I was in Kansas City, and what I was doing in Kansas City, so I was in Kansas City, all right? And while I was in Kansas City, I was out there with my boys. We met this older lady. I think she was like 37 years old. I ended up dancing with her and her friends, but she was beautiful for her age. We ended up standing at a bar just talking, and she was really into me from the eye contact she was giving me. We were holding hands. We were having a great time. But the only problem was that in 4 hours, I had to leave Kansas City because I had an important meeting to be to that morning, the next morning, with one of my sales teams. So I basically told her, I find you really attractive, but I'm leaving in 4 hours. And she was like, all right, that's cool. I mean, I've had a good time. It's like, well, but I really want to have sex with you. And she was like, okay. So she kind of laughed, and I was like, no, I'm for real. I mean, I find you really attractive, and I really want to have sex with you, within these 4 hours. And she's like, okay, well, do you have like a hotel or something? And I was like, no. And she's all right, well, I'm going through a divorce, but I have the house now, so you're more than welcome to come through later on. So I was like, all right, cool. So we keep chilling and drinking. And then later on, one of my friends comes by, and he lives in Kansas City. He's actually our host, but he knows that I'm leaving in a couple of hours. So he's like, all right, cool. Like, Chris got the cute girl. I'm going to try and get her because there's no way he's going to close in the next couple of hours. And he starts talking to her. And later on, he says, so, like, what are you guys up to later? And she says, well, we've decided that we're going to sleep together. And he's like, okay. And then he just bounces. Okay. But the thing was that when we had sex later, it was amazing because we had built up so much sexual tension because originally, earlier in the conversation, like an hour before, I had expressed my sexual intent. All right. And I know this may sound daunting for guys, but that is part of vulnerability. It's not saying it like a douche. It's not saying something to a woman at a street. It's saying it at the appropriate time, but most men don't do that. All right. Next is it builds intimacy when you express your emotions. It's easier to get close to a woman when you're vulnerable. I don't tell many people who have seen me, many of my clients, they're like, wow, Chris, you don't tell any jokes. You're not smooth. You stutter a lot. You fumble all over your words when you're talking to women, but you still do pretty well. And that's the thing. You don't have to be smooth and you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be vulnerable to get there. All right. Um, and the final, most important thing for introverted men is that being vulnerable attracts compatible women into your life. All right. See, here's the thing. Here's the negative part about this. Well, I wouldn't say negative, it's just the dark side of it. When you're vulnerable, you quickly separate women who have problems from women who do have problems. Because women who have issues cannot stand the light of vulnerability. Saying these things to them repels them because they are never open to having a genuine, emotionally charged, regular conversation with a man. The kind of of conversation that an introvert enjoys, these kind of women cannot have them. So that is the power of vulnerability. You will only be talking to compatible women. All right. So this makes your life much easier. You don't have to go out of your way approaching a ton of women. It's very easy. You could even be in a group. And even the way you start communicating in a more vulnerable way, talking about how you feel, it immediately will repel all the women who are not into that, who are either fake or they have uh, different bipolar disorders, whatever it is. And the only women who will stay and engage in conversation with you are those women who are attracted to vulnerability. All right. Now, that's we are running out of time, so I really wanted to keep this webinar to an hour. I don't talk too much. I really run out of energy really quickly because I spend time doing more technical stuff. But basically, guys, right now you've heard it. These are the 5 secrets, all right? Nothing mind blowing, but that is what they are. Now you have 3 choices, okay, right now before I close out. The first thing that I want to tell you guys is, guys, you can either do nothing, you can go out there and keep trying to work on yourself. And do something about it. Maybe read another book, join another program, or you can follow a proven path of an introvert, like a guy who is like you, who has been through this, who has screwed up. I mean, you're hearing my voice now. You can tell that I am not a fan. Drinking some water right now. I'm not a fantastic speaker. I am not a super smooth guy. I am an introverted guy, but I've had amazing success with women, and this has worked for me simply because I had to do the really tough things. I had to learn how to be authentic. I had to learn how to be vulnerable. All right. So those are the 3 choices um, that you have right now. All right. Now, so one of the things that I've done is, if you're interested in moving forward and improving yourself, and you want to know how you can um, actually, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you want all 5 of those secrets actually broken down, um, right here we have basically, I've shown you what to do. So the next step is, all right, how do I do it? So how do I apply all these things step by step? And that is through the program that I have called the Fearless Dating Course for the Masculine Man. Now, basically, guys, what this is it is something for introverts. Extroverts use it too, but honestly, the people who this is developed from me, from my personality type, and for guys who can relate to most of what I've said for the past 45 minutes. This is for guys who are introverts, who it's very difficult for you to go out there and approach women. And this is a list of a couple of things it does for you, okay? But basically, what this does is that it basically stops you from worrying about rejection for good, all right? It eliminates feelings of anxiety and any insecurities you have around women. It makes you more attractive without you trying, okay? Now, this is literally like a 40 module course. You don't need anything else after this. What it does is that it contains, I'm just going to read out some of the things that it has in the modules. It actually has um, the 3 steps. It has teaches you how to conquer your fear and anxiety, how to develop positive addictions, how to build an attractive lifestyle. It talks about self-esteem and your identity. It talks about how to attract women in like 5 seconds, the first 5 seconds when you talk to them. I have a 5 parts, 5 modules right there on vulnerability. We talk about controlling your emotions, characteristics of emotional men, how to overcome your limiting beliefs, how to overcome your personal beliefs, the difference between nice guys and bad. I mean, guys, it has so much in it among these modules. It basically takes you step by step. And the amazing thing about it is that you can stop it at any time and start it whenever you want. Now, here's some testimonials from guys who have actually used it. I think this is from Daniel. Before I found Fearless Dating, I could never figure out why the hot girls didn't go for me. It had only been a month, but I can already feel the changes. Now, when I talk to women, I'm not afraid to be a man. I set boundaries, communicate openly, and I don't hide my desires. Wow, what a whole new world has opened up. I've gotten more dates in the past 3 weeks, then all of last year, if I want to kiss a girl, I just go for it. And you were right. They usually follow my lead. I've had girls tell me that they love how honest and direct I am. I don't know what I was hiding from before. I feel like I'm finally being my true self, and the women are eating it up. Thank you, Chris. My life with girls will never be the same. All right. And then we have more testimonials here. Chris just checking in, still seeing the blonde yoga teacher. But today I met a girl at Starbucks that could have been a runway model. We're meeting for drinks tonight. This is incredible. I just want what I want. I just say what I want and the girls follow. Fearless dating is making this too easy. LOL. This is from Andrew. I got a ton, all right, but this is the last one I'll share with you. All right, so I'm 34 years old. And this guy is saying, I've been in the game for 2 years. Before that, I never got any girls. Then The Game was the first book I read, then a few others. The lines I learned at least got me talking to girls, so that was good, but I was still too shy to make any moves. That's when a friend told me about you. So after our first session, I honestly felt angry. I was like, why me? Why do I have to work at this? Then the first month, I slept with two new women. I hadn't had sex in a long time. That was very nice. And I couldn't have done all of this before fearless dating. So I've made more progress with this than I ever did with all that game stuff, and every day gets better. Thank you, Chris, for showing me how powerful I can become. And that is from Raj. All right. So, guys, listen, this is what I'm going to do for y'all today. For everyone who came to the webinar, thank you so much. I am going to give you a special link, all right, in the chat section to access the course, all right? But guess what? The course is $197. But today, since you're on the webinar, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get three things. You are going to get the course for half the price. That's 50% off. And on top of it, I'm going to throw in two more courses. Each of them, all right, are worth $97, all right? So the first one is Masculine Sexual Confidence. I'm going to give that to you. That's a 37 module course, and it deals with dealing with your sexual shame. It talks about healthy relationships, how to get a girlfriend. It talks about what you actually say in this is a more sexual one, but it talks about what you say in more sexual situations. It talks about your comfort zone, how you relate to women, listening to women, flirting with women, how to get sexual with women. So it gets pretty deep, okay? And then you're also going to get my ongoing program. So I'm working on it right now, but what we're doing is you get a new module every week. And I think we're about like a quarter of the way. We're still in the beginning. I think there are about 5 or 6 modules out. But you get lifetime access to the Approach Anxiety program, which is literally what you say and what you do when you walk out in the morning and you want to talk to a girl. Exactly what to do. And I walk you through it. And another thing that's going to happen with the Approach Anxiety program is next year, once the program is completed, everyone can start it off from the beginning. But this time it is going to have actual videos of me approaching. So go ahead and take advantage of it. The link is up there for you guys. I'm going to put up the link again. Here we go. You haven't gotten access to it, and I'll email it to you guys after this, okay? So again, there is your link. Just go ahead and click on it, and it will take you straight to the sales page with your discount and both of your bonuses for attending. Now, some people sent me questions, and I'm just going to go through them real quick and answer them. The first question that I got was, Chris, when does the course start and when does it finish? Basically, it is self-paced. You have lifetime access to it. Somebody asked, what if what if I don't like the course, man? That's absolutely cool. If you do not like the course, all you got to do is use it for 30 days or wait for 30 days. I don't care either way. It's your thing. And if it doesn't work for you, you'll get a full refund. I won't ask you any questions. You get it back guaranteed. Now, how do I know that this will work for me? All right. Now, listen, I have worked with every kind of man, from guys who are divorced, from porn addicts, autistic guys, guys who are absolutely inexperienced from different cultures to straight up virgins, all right? And I've coached guys from over 40 countries and varying cultural backgrounds. Your only requirement for improvement is basically you need to have a strong desire to improve, all right? And that you want to change this part of your life permanently, all right? Now, why can't I just take someone else's programs? Oh, this is all I got to say. You can take anybody else's program, but my programs are practical, they are based on science, and they require action on your part. All right. Other programs are geared towards men who do not have issues with porn, who are not introverts, who don't have any sexual shame. And usually programs to overcome pornography. For example, I'll give you an example. There's a big, I won't say their name, but there's a big company out there. They're probably one of the biggest pickup companies. And a lot of guys, you have to do all kinds of crazy shit when you're approaching, but it doesn't work for introverts. All right. How much material is in this course? I live in this country. Will it work for me? Now, unless you live in a very sexually conservative community, this is going to work for you. So if you live in somewhere like Saudi Arabia, I can't say it's going to work for you. But if you live in, let's say, somewhere like Malaysia or Singapore or somewhere else, South Africa, this will work for you. The principles of this program are not dependent on culture. All right. So it'll teach you to become sexual with all kinds of women. All right. Now, so that's it, guys. Basically, those are the main questions I had that I I received from people. I hope I've served everybody well on this webinar. And again, I absolutely apologize if I've not been very smooth. This is my first time doing any sort of thing live in the past 4 years. All right. And this is my first time doing anything live specifically for Quit Porn Get Girls. So I really appreciate you guys' patience. Thank you so much. I hope you've benefited from this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the sales page up for the next 15 minutes. And I will send you guys a link right after this, an email right after this with a link to the sales page so you can pick up a copy. After the next 6 hours, I'm going to shut it down. All right. So it's going to be open for 15 more minutes and then we're going to be done. All right. So thank you and I appreciate it. You guys have an awesome evening. Goodbye.